back to Hoops Lounge. My name is Marc Griffin, aka Montreal Marc. It's my partner in crime, Phil Boileau, Sporting Phil. This is my favorite show of the year. It is our NBA season preview for 2014-2015. Let's dig in, my friend.
If we remember last year, this is where some great predictions happened and some tears were shed at the same time. We're not always right, but we always make it fun.
It's all on tape.
All on tape, so we're accountable for this later. So we have quite a few categories for the upcoming 2014-2015 NBA season. Which one do you want to hit off first?
Well, I'll let you pick first. I like the randomness and surprise element of what we do here at Hoops Lounge.
All right. I'm going to go with the most improved player because I think as a growing website, this is what we're all about.
Yeah, I got my notes here, scribbled in pen.
Mine, which he hasn't seen.
Yeah, we don't look at each other's stuff.
And mine are going to be right, by the way.
It's like cheating on the test if you look at it.
I don't have to cheat. I know all the answers.
I kind of veered between two different guys. This is one of the tougher ones for me for most improved. And they say you shouldn't pick a sophomore. They say you should not pick a second-year guy because that is a year where they make a ton of improvement. So I was going to go with Jonas Valanciunas, who I actually picked last year. I think he's going to have a breakout year. But I actually am going to pick a sophomore. I'm going to pick a Canadian. This is kind of an outside the box. Going with Anthony Bennett because he barely played at all last year, and he's going to have
That's actually a great pick because he's in shape. He's going to get opportunities. He's playing behind Thaddeus Young, but he is playing with a point guard who's going to let him score with Ricky Rubio. And they are going to be starving for points.
He did next to nothing to the very tail end of last year. I think he's going to have a pretty bang-up year compared to last season.
I like that pick. I'm actually going to go with my man, Andre Drummond.
Yeah.
I'm calling that one to happen just because I think there's a lot that's going on in that system, but what we do know about Stan Van Gundy is that he likes to feature his center in offenses. I think he'll be fed. I think his offense is going to jump. I think his experience off last year and the championships is going to improve. His defense is rebounding. I think we're going to see near all-star numbers from him. And he's going to, it's all going to depend on those free throw shots, but I think he's going to be establish himself as a top 3 center this year.
On a side note, I followed Andre around Spain for a couple of weeks trying to get an interview. He was like my white whale from Moby Dick. I didn't get to speak to him, but the man is impressively huge as a human being, and he's going to be a Goliath out there this season. So, yeah, he's going to have a heck of a year.
All right, so I picked this one. What category you want next?
Let's go coach.
Coach. Okay, I'm going to pick, weirdly enough, only because I think the team is going to do better than a lot of people think they will. And this is a coach who some people have said is the worst coach in the NBA, Jacques Vaughn.
That's
Orlando Magic.
I thought about this one, and I like that. And I loved him as a player at Kansas. He took calculus while at Kansas, one of the most intelligent guys in the league. And he's got a lot of interesting young pieces, as you mentioned, on that squad. I really like that pick. And Orlando's going to do some stuff they haven't done in a while. The name hasn't been out there since Stan Van Gundy left that team. So I think they'll be good this year. I'm going with a guy who's an NBA rookie. And no, I'm not picking Derrick Fisher. Or I'm not picking Steve Kerr. I'm going with David Blatt.
I thought you were going with Kid here on this one. You went Blatt.
Yeah, I like Blatt because he's going to a situation where he has immediate expectations to win a title. At least get to the Eastern Conference Finals. He's coaching the best player in the league. He's got a lot of pieces he's got to work. If he's not winning, he's not doing well.
But does that not work against him when you're given LeBron James, Kevin Love, and
High
Kyrie
expectations.
Irving?
Very high
because
expectations.
If he meets his expectations, is that coach of the year, right? As opposed to a guy who's, like Vaughn, like
he's being set up for failure. If he doesn't win at least Eastern Conference Finals, he's not doing a good job. So,
although to his point, being a rookie coach, having all the new pieces, being able to mesh that together, so if he
using his own Princeton system,
exactly,
it's complicated for him, and it's complicated for LeBron. I'm going with David Blatt.
I think that's a good pick. I think he's going to be actually a hell of a coach in this year.
I think he will be too. Moda saw him coach in Italy, in Milan, and just said he had the worst team. But he had the guys who played, in terms of talent, but he had guys who played together. He's going to be a good coach.
All right. One after that, I'm going to go with my favorite part, Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
I'll let you go first on this one. I'll let you get the honors.
I guess most people would expect Andrew Wiggins to win Rookie of the Year. I think he's talented as heck. He's going to be one of the most exciting players in the league. But I'm going with Dante Exum. I saw him play for Australia and Spain. he hasn't even grown into his body yet, and the amount of speed and the versatility, he'll be playing the 1 and the 2 in Utah. He'll be doing exciting things. Once he'll be in the West as well. I just see a really bright light for him in the future and for Australian basketball for that kid.
I think you're very right. I think what hurts him in that case is that he's doesn't have a starting spot. I think Alex Burks and Trey Burks starting. He's going to have to prove himself. I think Jabari Parker of Milwaukee is going to get a lot of looks because he's going to be the main focal point on that offense.
Yeah.
But I'm actually going to go because I believe a trade is in the works for Marcus Smart of the Boston Celtics. I think Rajon Rondo is on his way out. I don't think he fits in the window. I think Rajon Rondo needs to win. He's like, 27, 28 right now, entering his prime. He needs to win right now. Boston's not ready for this. Marcus Smart, I think they got him as the heir apparent. And he's a gamer. He likes the ball. He likes to take shots. And we all know with Rookie of the Years, like we saw with Michael Carter-Williams last year, when you put up numbers, even on a losing team, you get the award.
That was my dark sheep. Smart, he's a heck of a player, and I read a really great bio piece. I might have been in Vice Sports a couple of weeks ago, and the things he's gone through in his life growing up in the ghetto and escaping poverty and crime, he's got a chip on his shoulder in a good way. I really like that pick from you and being in a situation where he could be potentially the man on that Boston team. So, yeah.
And it'll be interesting having a coach like Brad Stevens, right? Like,
he's a smart cookie.
Marcus Smart is the kind of guy, I don't know if he would get along necessarily well with a really seasoned, established Lionel Hollins kind of coach. I think a coach who's young, who can understand him, and they can grow together, I think that's kind of an ideal situation, and he'll be given the ball and the reins. Yeah. So I think Marcus Smart is the one there. Which category you want next?
Let's do 6 man.
All right. For this one, I just watched him play. I got Toronto Raptors Louis Williams.
Really?
I really liked how he played. I think he put up a lot of points. I think his ball handling, his ability to get to the hole, his ability to score from distance. He's shown it at Atlanta. He's shown it for years. This has always been his bread and butter. He's been a 6-man candidate ever since he entered the league. And I think this is the punch that the Raptors need off the bench, and he's here to fulfill it.
That's a really interesting choice. Okay, I like that. We actually saw him play on Friday. We're going to do a show. They're in town here in Montreal playing against the Knicks. We'll do a show on that later this week, but that's interesting. My 6-man is a bit outside the box. I picked him last year, actually. I'm going with Klay Thompson, even though he's starting right now for Golden State. The reason why is because I saw him play, I keep mentioning Spain, but I saw him play for Team USA as a 6-man off the bench, and he was absolutely spectacular. In that role, he relished it. He loved coming in and being that spark. It reminded me a lot of what Manu was doing for the Spurs this season, just being this talented guy, being a leader off the bench, and also because Harrison Barnes excels in a starting role. I know they have Iguodala coming off the bench right now. I don't mind them kind of breaking up the Splash Brothers. I would love to see Steve Kerr bringing Klay off the bench, and I think he would thrive, maybe get 15, maybe 20 points a game off the bench.
So you do realize that your pick is contingent on
him
on the coaching decision to take someone who's potentially going to get a max contract and moving him to the bench.
Yeah.
All right.
I'm okay with that.
Perfect. As long as you are. Yeah. I'm pretty happy with my Louis Williams pick here.
Go Steve Kerr.
We're going to go GM right now. And I know Marc's a bit more of a GM guy, but I think we're going to look at because I needed a way to bring up Bruno Caboclo somehow in today's show. And so Masai Ujiri wins my pick solely for that. And the $13 or $14 million is going to have off the cap starting next year with Chuck Hayes, Landry Fields, and others coming off the cap who could be used in trades. Yeah. We don't know because obviously there's teams all around the league who want to shed salaries. But I'm giving them purely because of the Brazilian Kevin Durant, Bruno Caboclo, who I think is at worst going to be a poor man's, why am I blanking? Detroit, old man, blanking. Tayshaun Prince.
Tayshaun, yeah.
I think not 2 years from 2 years. I think starting end of next year, we're going to see a very special player. So Masai Ujiri.
Masai is quite a fascinating, intelligent, very articulate, and very well-loved man.
And well-dressed, to be honest.
Well-dressed. Just a down-to-earth, humble guy. We got to meet him on Friday. I got to speak to him in the media scrum, and we'll have that up this week on hoopslounge.com. But yeah, he was my second choice, but don't look at my notes.
I'm not looking.
I went with a guy who's been away from the game for a while. I went with Stan the Man Van Gundy. General manager now. Everyone forgets he's general manager. because he came into a Pistons
Again,
organization.
you're picking this predicated upon an eventual move. I've already landed my all-star in Bruno Caboclo.
I'm seeing this team, this franchise, being turned around, pivoted in the right direction because of this man and everything he's going to be doing over the next year, including how he's going to bring on Andre Drummond. These guys are going to be in the playoffs. They were a nonsense nothing team a year ago.
You do realize though that this pick is contingent on moves he's going to make.
Yes.
Right, and not on their and not their production right now, because that's Stan Van Gundy, the coach.
Yes, he does both roles, but yeah,
he is doing both. But this is a pick for GM.
Yes, he's Batman. Okay, he does a lot of different things. He's the family man who's running this organization, and this award counts from everything that happens basically from early summer until the very end of the regular season. He's going to be doing it. And he's turning this franchise around. That's the most important factor for me.
All right, well, I'm going to make you answer a tough question then. Starting next season, who's their starting power forward? Greg Monroe, Josh Smith?
I think Monroe's gone. I think
Monroe's gone?
Yeah, I think Monroe's gone. And I think Smith may be gone too. Everything's predicated on Andre Drummond.
That's a tough contract to trade, though.
Yeah, it is. It's a tough contract, but Masai's the type of guy to get rid of guys. I think Stan can do it too. I think everything's predicated. The anchor is Drummond, and they're going to go around that.
Yeah. All right,
Stan the man.
We're on our last one here, MVP. I'm going to give you the honors. There's no way we're on the same one for this one.
Probably not. And so yeah, we did coach, we did GM, we did sixth man, most improved rookie, MVP. Kevin Durant. They talk about him being 6 to 8 weeks. He could be out for a year. We mentioned this earlier. Brook Lopez having a similar problem for the last 2 years.
Well, I think I know where you're going with this one.
Well, I mean, for me, it's a simple case of going home. And LeBron's the best player on the planet. He's going to be home. As long as he's healthy, he's going to win MVP.
I thought you were going to pull Westbrook after that, Durant.
Oh, God, no.
Oof.
No. It's LeBron.
LeBron James?
Yeah, King.
I like it. But what always hurts players, to be honest, is playing with other All-Stars.
Yeah.
And to me, I like your LeBron pick, but playing with two guys not even having entered their primes yet in Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, I think is going to play against them a bit. I think the guy, it's interesting you said Kevin Durant, because you know what I was thinking? 6'11", lanky, long arms, can score from distance, score inside. This does sound like an MVP. It also sounds like Chris Bosh of the Miami Heat, who's now going to be the star, who turned down a deal to play with Dwight Howard and James Harden to be the man in Miami, who's going to have to shoulder the load with Dwayne Wade, hopefully he's healthy, Luol Deng, Danny Granger, and a bunch of supporting cast. I'm not saying that the Miami Heat are going to have the best record. I'm not saying they're going to win the championship, but I think Chris Bosh is going to have one of his best career years. He's looked good so far, and he's going to be the MVP.
You realize we're recording this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Let's go on. My mind it's over there. I came up with a few Hoops Lounge awards. Last year, one of the kind of running, we had a few running jokes kind of things throughout the year, and one was Greg Oden versus Andrew Bynum for who would play the most games. And
that was a sad award.
And then, it was barely one over the other. Oden by one, I think. And then we kind of had a running theme you came up with kind of halfway through the season. It was the Bynum Effect of the curse he's had on several franchises. So I kind of came up with a few things we could kind of carry through to this season, because that's what we do here.
But we're passing the torch to the new season. Yeah.
So I've got one called Every Rose Has Its Thorn. Derrick Rose hasn't really played much basketball the last 2 years.
Look good so far this year.
I have a bet with a friend that he thinks he'll play more than 65 games.
Are we including playoffs or just regular season?
It's regular season.
65 games?
Yeah. I said no. I said less than that.
So this is plus minus 65 games.
Yeah.
Are we counting games he's purposely held out?
We're counting how many total games he plays in the regular season out of 82. I said less than 65. I'm going to say he's going to play. I don't want to say. I'm just going to say less than 65.
That's a tough one.
It is.
You know what? I think he's going to play through some injuries, and we won't know about it. I think he's going to be about that 69, 70 mark.
Okay.
I'm going to take the plus.
You know what? I hope he plays 82.
I think if he does, it's going to be hard-pressed not to see Chicago fighting for the finals.
If Gasol's healthy, everyone's healthy.
Look at Gasol's block numbers ever since he's been placed with Noah, because Noah kind of funnels the guys to him.
I love that.
And Dougie McBuckets, I think this is going to be a good spot for him. I'm going to say plus because A, as a fan, I want to see it, and B, I think any player can get injured at any time, and I think he's starting to make his game a little bit more toned down, although it's still a mile a minute. I'm going to say the plus, but
Okay.
I don't feel amazing about this one.
Okay. Second one, we've got a few. Bynum Effect is going to continue through the rest of history. What Bynum Effect? What team or teams will he be on this year?
Does a team take a chance?
Because I didn't even
on
check.
Bynum?
Did he get picked up in the
No.
preseason? No.
Andrew Bynum. So essentially, it would have to be. You know, it's funny, but the Miami Heat would be the best landing spot for him. You know, and they could have Greg Oden too.
That would
Imagine
be,
they had
that'd be
both.
crossing the streams, man. I don't know.
Yeah. So it's a team that needs a big guy who doesn't really care if he doesn't play a lot. I want to say the Spurs, but I can't see Popovich putting up with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say the Heat just because I think they're hurting so much after losing LeBron that they're just trying to suck in as much talent.
Yeah.
Although, you know what? I don't know if I just read your mind by saying this, but the Lakers are a sneaky second.
Oh, boy.
Did I?
No, you didn't, but that's a good one. That's
the
a
Lakers, you know what? Scratch the Heat. I'm saying the Lakers. I'm saying Kobe uses his Mamba magic and forces the thing. Because I think his defensive prowess with Boozer, with Randall, I think that actually makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to say the Lake Show.
The return. That's
Lakers.
Interesting.
He had his best years there.
Yeah, he did. Throwback. I'm going to say Phoenix because they take a chance on him because they have the training staff. That's the only thing. They're the only guys who can heal this guy.
But that team is completely predicated on chemistry.
Yeah, they don't need him.
And he'd
just be an experiment for their training staff, basically.
And for all these
Frankenstein.
And for all these young players. Like, can you imagine him and the Morris twins?
No,
then this can't happen.
It's just an experiment. Like, can you heal this guy?
All right, so if he comes back, Suns, Lakers.
Yeah, okay. Nene, how many fights is he going to get in this year?
Now, is this a fight like
grabbing someone around the neck?
Choke? How many guys does he choke out?
Like a fight that would lead to a song with the Kemp Mutombo. Like,
No. He's a tough guy, and he has some young guys to look after. I'm going to say 4.
I'm going to say 2. He knows some MMA stuff, so he's got himself covered.
So does Roy Hibbert.
He does?
Yeah.
And Tim Duncan, too.
Yeah, Roy Hibbert last offseason was training in either kickboxing or some other MMA, and that's how he slimmed down, and he increased his dexterity and his footwork that way.
Okay. A few more. Yep. Donald Sterling curse. Will there be a Sterling curse? Clippers, are they going to fall to pieces? They've got this new Microsoft guy, or is it just is the curse, is it gone?
Look, I think it's unfortunate that you can't have iPads, but I think they're too good. I think Chris Paul is tired of being kind of coined as the playoff Cinderella.
Yeah.
And I think Blake Griffin really takes that step. It's funny that Blake Griffin got no talk in that MVP.
Yeah. No.
Which
which is ridiculous. He was a great player this year.
But I think they're going to be a really, really good team. I think they're kind of loaded top to bottom. They have to deal with that small forward position, Matt Barnes, but I don't think there's really an issue. I think the camaraderie is there. I think Doc Rivers makes things work, and I think we're looking at the Clippers being LA's golden child team for a few years in a row.
I expect the Sterling curse. I expect some weird Apple, Microsoft issues with these guys and their iPhones and everything else, sponsorship deals. I think it's going to kind of fall apart again in the playoffs. And
$2 billion.
I don't know, it's a lot of money. A couple more. Okay, Big Apple Meltdown.
Mm-hmm.
Who has the worst season, the Knicks or the Nets?
Knicks.
Yeah, I agree.
After Washington, we won't go too deep into this. Not sold. Those are the right players for the triangle.
Yeah.
Triangle's a tough enough thing on its own.
Maybe not the right coach either.
Not sold. These are players made for the playoffs. Not sold. J.R. Smith's not going to get suspended. There's a lot of things there. And the Brooklyn Nets.
Mm-hmm.
I think Deron Williams has a bit of a comeback year, and I don't think either of them are great.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the Nets overall are a better team, and I think they have the synergy already. I just think the Knicks are a ticking time bomb.
Okay. I got 2 more. Who is your League Pass team, the team you want to watch random nights?
Man. And you know with me, it's never a good team. It's always this.
Well, the one you want to watch. You want to watch. Have fun. Enjoy it.
You know what? Because I know in my mind it's the same team you're saying. And I'm trying to get away from this. If this was next year with Joel Embiid there, it would be the Sixers, but it's got to be the Timberwolves.
Okay.
The Dunk Brothers.
Bounce Brothers, yeah.
The what?
Bounce Brothers.
Bounce Brothers, yeah, that's it. I think they have to be it. I mean, just looking up and down, there's a couple other teams that are interesting, but just for the pure aesthetic fun of the game, it has to be them. I mean, I kind of like the idea that you have Ricky Rubio throwing lobs to guys who can jump out of the roof. I think Thaddeus Young is going to play for his next contract. Anthony Bennett's playing for his career and the justification #1 pick. And then having the big ogre in the middle, Pekovic, just...
It's exciting.
I just think it's going to be funny having his big plodding self there and all these young guys flying over him.
So, yeah, I agree. That was my choice too. But and I tell everyone, if you're new to basketball, watch Golden State because they play just an exciting brand of basketball. But I would say a team to watch, and you really brought this to me this summer. I would say the Orlando Magic. That could be really interesting to watch with all their young, exciting pieces. So.
The guys they added, Aaron Gordon, their small forward. Some people are comparing him to a Shawn Marion, a bit bigger. Next to their center, Vucevic, who they just signed for a 4-year deal. That's going to be a great inside scoring, rebounding with athleticism, shot blocking, stealing. And Alfred Payton. Alfred Payton, oh man, it's almost making me rethink Marcus Smart. But Alfred Payton.
That's a good outside the box pick. Yeah.
I made it, so I can't go back. Yeah. But Alfred Payton, you're gonna watch this guy. Yeah. I know stats don't really matter in preseason. Yeah. But always watch for players plus minus. This guy's plus minus is always fantastic. Yeah. They're a much better team with him on the floor than not. Passes the ball 6'4", defensive hawk. Yeah. He gets to the rim. Yeah. His shot is not amazing at all, but it's growing. I think he'll have a better overall shot than Rondo going down. Yeah. And who doesn't love a guy with a throw? Yeah, I mean, he's a sneaky good pick like Damian Lillard was a couple of years ago, so watch out for him. Oh, yeah. My last kind of Hoops Lounge thing to look out this year is the Shawn Kemp Award. Who do you think is going to have the most strange, weird, off-court issues, kind of like Paul George last year? Oof. Well, right away when you say Paul George, it just leads me to me, it's a toss-up. It's Lance Stevenson or J.R. Smith. I'm going to go Lance Stevenson. I think he's been given his own team now. And I think playing with guys like West, Hibbert, George allowed him to be the kid there. But Al Jefferson, I don't think is good enough for Lance Stevenson not to think he's the best player on that team. And Charlotte, North Carolina, I just think he's going to do something stupid. Yeah. I just think he's got all the talents in the world. I just think he's... it's not going to work out. I think Lance, and I think that's going to be the one reason that the Bobcats are not going to be as good as I think they could be. Just because I think Lance Stevenson's going to do something stupid. Although J.R. Smith is time bomb. Is hot in his heels. Yeah, I picked a guy with a lot of free time on his hands this year, Joel Embiid, who is just well, he's already a Twitter. I mean, so he's up to fun. So, and he's got a lot of time in his hands, and so. Yeah, I see something interesting could happen there. We got to wrap up soon, but we have to pick our Eastern Conference and Western Conference finalists. And I wonder, so who do you pick in the East? So is the final two teams or the team coming out? The team coming out. Team coming out? West? West? Yeah, go ahead, West. I hate to say it, but Clippers. Really? Yeah. I think Spencer Hawes fills their need. I think in the fourth quarter, I think DeAndre Jordan sits on the bench only because of his free throws. I mean, if miraculously can fix that, that even adds to my point. But I think they have enough talent there to make that work. San Antonio can always be there. OKC can always be there. If they're healthy. If they're healthy. I mean, I think OKC is going to stumble into the playoffs around the 5-4 mark because of the loss of Durant. But I think that so if they do that, they're going to have to play a pretty top tier team, first round, second round. But I think the Clippers are there. I think Sterling, that cloud is going to hang over them. And I picked the Spurs. They hired a Canadian doctor, a woman, to be part of their medical staff. And they're going to need that with their. Well, yeah, they hired a few people specifically who have worked with aging athletes, so they know what they're doing.
and they're just going to keep doing it. And of course, Kawhi is going to keep growing as a player. Obviously, it's predicated on.
I don't know what his ceiling is, though. I don't think
it's high.
I don't
It's
feel his
very
ceiling's as
high.
high as some people do, and I think there's a lot of guys with huge hands. Doesn't mean
He uses them well.
he will. All right, so we got our.
I
our
got
East
the
End.
Spurs coming out of the West.
All right, so I got East End. I really want to not say Cleveland, but I don't trust that my 65 plus number is going to last into the playoffs.
Your D Rose number.
And I think without that, it doesn't really matter. I think Miami's going to be better than a lot of people give them credit for. I think Charlotte's going to be a lot better than a lot of people give them credit for. But I think the depth in Cleveland will allow too much. I mean, they could even lose one of their stars and still be half decent. So I'm going to say Cleveland Clippers. That's your finals.
I'm going to say, I mean, first of all, watch out for the Raptors. I think they'll get the third seed in the East. I agree. You know, Cleveland's very stacked. Obviously, it's predicated on them having good chemistry and being healthy, of course. But you know what? I'm going to go with the wild horse. I'm going to go with Chicago pulling it together. And Gasol, you know, kind of having a great season again, you know. And
that'd be interesting. Tim Duncan.
Oh, yeah.
Pau Gasol.
That would be special.
Yeah. So in yours, it's the great power forwards of all time. Mine, it's the young power forwards who started our whole Hoops Lounge relationship, Love versus Blake. And
ironic.
Yeah, we'll see how this wins.
And who are you picking?
I think Cleveland just takes it. I think when you look at how LeBron's speaking to the media, how he's speaking, it's just focus. There's no garbage. There's no anything. His team's on point. I think, as you said, Blatt's going to be a lot better than people give him credit for. And I think even if he's not, I think there's enough veteran leadership between all those guys. And, yeah, I just can't see outside of a LeBron James injury them dropping this.
I'm picking a repeat in the first time in franchise history. Popovich, Tim, everything coming together one last time, and then game over. I think the Spurs are going to get that last title and then ride off into the sunset.
And I worry about Kawhi and the rest after that.
Well, you know what? Kawhi can take care of himself, and they'll start over. That's what they did when David Robinson came in. So everything begins again.
Tim Duncan.
He came later on. And, you know, Boston didn't get Duncan. This game is a matter of bounces and draft picks and ping pong balls and injuries. And that's why I love NBA basketball.
Exactly. So, close up. What do we have upcoming for people?
Go on hoopslounge.com. Our man Moda Elb, he's actually in Montreal this week, but out of Switzerland has been. We just completely revamped our site. We'll have tons of stuff.
For you, the fan.
Tons of stuff from the Raptors Knicks game, including interviews, photos, and stuff. But every Tuesday, Technical Tuesday, Mike Rumberg does pieces, and we have a bunch of new writers on this year who'll be coming. All kinds of stuff. So check for contest articles, weekly videos. I do Naismith moment stuff where I'm going to have a piece on Steve Nash and the sad news of him basically probably retiring, and Phil has his off the wire, a lot of breaking news, all kinds of great stuff. It's going to be a heck of a year, man. It's Christmas, man. It's Christmas for me.
Got the off the wires and starting a new segment, also Flagrant Fills.
Yes.
Which I'm going to look at some maybe common articles that are look at it in a different light, be a little more critical, give it the maybe the eye that the big networks won't give you because they have the duct tape around their mouths. And it's always, like we said, the new website's out there. And please feel very free. If there's anything as fans you'd like to see on that website, we are launching for fans kind of a beta version, I guess we'd say.
It's a beta version. There's going to be a few things need tweaking. Let us know as we're working through it. You're an essential part of the conversation. We don't exist if you're not taking part, and we want you to be part of the conversation as always. Social media, our Facebook page, at hoopslounge.com is our Twitter handle. And email us. It's Marc at hoopslounge.com, Phil at hoopslounge.com, Moda at hoopslounge.com. We involve you. We're all about the team, and we're all about the game.
Oh, yeah. And speaking of the game, there's a lot coming up. So
we actually played against Dikembe Mutombo the other night.
He's
a very tall man. And you'll hear all about that.
In our next one. All right, guys. So thanks for joining us for another show. Marc, myself, Phil, Montreal Marc, Twitter, Sporting Phil, Twitter. We'll catch you guys next time in the lounge.
See ya.